are Skink Cohorts plus Javelins, and you can patch 6.3. So this is just to settle the baseline for the Skink side of the faction. There's more you can get out of this as certain leaders, especially Tehenoan, but sometimes you just need cold bodies to drown your enemies in. And trust me, they do fight better than zombies. And this is not a fast zombie video game. Skinks are a lot faster. Recruited for 300 gold and 75 upkeep. The plain vanilla Skink cohort comes on Ultra at 160 entities, which is often viewed as a curse, not a blessing, but so be it. There's 8,000 health, unit-wide, so 50 per entity, something that will factor into how area effect spells and mortar rounds land and decimate. Armor is 30 by default, which could be a lot worse, with shields blocking 35% of small arms fire, no more no less. Leadership is 55 only. Speed 46 and charge speed 52 is very nimble. They are not thought of as flankers, but if they get a chance, they'll run down fleeing crossbowmen nicely. Melee attack begins at 20, and this will likely remain a weakness for much of a game, but not the whole thing. Attack interval 4.3 is Empire Swordsman standard, no splash damage present. Melee defense begins at 24, so they're better at holding a line than breaching one. Weapon strength is 25, split base 20 and armor piercing 5, so they have a highly distinct weakness, as in breaching armor, but have outsized damage against low armored foes. Outsized in comparison, that is. Charge bonus is a pedestrian 10 for a foot unit, and mass is 90, which is higher than the pure skirmishers. With Javelins, they are recruited 400 gold and 100 upkeep. There is absolutely zero change to the melee stats, but the game will treat this as a missile unit until its javelins are exhausted, so it can skirmish mode until then. You don't necessarily want it to, you probably don't want it to, but the game, at least in the old days, assumed that you do. For ranged, ammunition is 3 by default. This can be increased. Range is 80 or better than Skink skirmishers by a hair. Official strength is 16, and even in multiplayer, it's poison with every javelin. Each hit does base 12 and armor piercing 4 damage, and that's not nothing for AP. It's 1 javelin per chuck, reload time an even Steven 10, total accuracy 20, calibration distance a half-decent 50, calibration area 2.5 meters, so not exactly pinpoint, but at least gives you a chance of damaging characters. Small penetration cap, max circus penned after the first, regardless of luck, is 2 maximum. As Skinks, they trigger Spawn Kin, gaining causes fear if Kroq-Gar senpais are nearby, they can hide in forest, and are aquatic, so will brawl better in shallow water, where others would probably struggle. And before I forget, these two have Primal Instinct, under 50% health, and after 30 seconds have cooled down. In the redline skills, 3 pips of Skirmisher offers melee defense plus 6, weapon strength plus 12%, which helps both, missile strength plus 8%, which helps the javelins only. Spawn Kin gives rank 7 cohorts, leadership plus 5, melee defense plus 5 again, and missile resistance 15%, which is useful. In the tech tree, a lot's going on. Tablet of the Skinks instantly slaps on plus 20% ammunition, poison for melee attacks, which they definitely need, and recruitment cost minus 10%. Skink spawning gives plus 2 recruit rank, sequence of quickness gives speed plus 10%, and melee defense plus 3 again. Sequence of skirmishing gives missile strength plus 10% and range plus 10%, not trivial. Sequence of Purpose gives enhanced Spawn Kin for plus 5 melee defense with Kroq-Gars instead of just causes fear, and plus 10% weapon strength besides, and Skink Invigoration for minus 20% fatigue buildup and minus 10% upkeep. In addition to this, Rite of Sotek, while active, would give them melee attack plus 10, weapon strength plus 15%, and ammunition plus 20%, so in such a state of agitation, well, they actually hit stuff in melee now. Cool! So how do we use Skink Cohorts? Now, obviously, if they're melee, you only have one real way to use them. Go forth and try to smack stuff. Preferably targets they have any kind of shot against, like clan rats or Skaven slaves. They take up space, and they're fast. If they're javelins, you want to use those to the fullest. Your greatest ambition is to soften up an important target. Yes, they do more damage against less armored targets, but your concern as a practical matter is avoiding targets with super high missile block chance and outsized missile resistance, unless you have no real choice, of course. Softening up the target, especially once you can have, like, 4 ammunition, makes them humble but very helpful. No joking, an army of them can win a lot of fights, mainly through this kind of softening up. And obviously, 80 range is enough to do some real focused fire on some things. And that, even more than the regular missile units, is what you should aim for, literally included. You don't have many volleys you need to make them count on the targets you need weakened most. Now, past this, the story of the boosts, as I've described, is a relatively low damage, but high entity count that gets stupidly, unreasonably good at melee defense, while not being great at melee attack except when under magical boosts, very particular lords, and obviously with the right of Sotek running. You need to get out of your head notions of passively holding the line unless you have a pure javelin force relying on firing every javelin possible, including using guard mode, which is viable for this. You don't want to just wait in other circumstances. You want to go after the enemy and form a line. You're much faster than most of your foes, not Beastmen infantry, but a lot of your foes, and the ones you're not, you want to pin them in place regardless. This fast-moving anvil effect puts stuff in a position for whatever you need, be it magic, cavalry, or dropping some choice rocks from above. You can hope for more with the Rite of Sotek running, and at any rate, poison with every skink unit is a huge help for such a small-seeming thing, because Source emphatically do not bring poison themselves. One way or another, skinks are good stuff, and until you're running a majority dinosaur army or something like that, they're the ones that set the table while your other units dish out wrath. Take care and have fun watching these little guys' combat animations. They're a lot busier than their raw stats reflect.